When do we beat Mexico at the border? They're laughing at us, at our stupidity. And now they're beating us economically. They are not our friend, believe me. The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But we don't know, because we have no protection, and we have no competence. We don't know what's happening. And it's got to stop, and it's got to stop fast.
It's like all of a sudden they're jumping to seeing a difference in somebody that isn't like them, and then if there's an advantage or somebody has a better opportunity, maybe because they worked harder or the circumstances laid out that way, or they just were in the right place at the right time, whatever that equation is, if they see something that somebody else has and they don't have, all of a sudden the default, it's because of they're immigrants.
This is Kara Calvin McFerrin. She's a third-generation Mexican-American living in West Liberty. In 1908, her great-grandparents crossed from Leon, Guanajuato, Mexico, through El Paso, Texas, to West Liberty. In 1913, Kara's grandfather was born, and in 1933, he became the first Hispanic to graduate from West Liberty High School. Last November, she became the first Hispanic woman to be elected to West Liberty City Council. In a state where 91.3% of the population is white and only 5% is Hispanic, West Liberty became the first Hispanic majority city in Iowa after the 2010 census was taken. The population steadily rose as those who came in the 30s established their roots. Today, West Liberty is an economically prosperous and growing town. About half of the businesses in town are Hispanic-owned. This city is a microcosm of the immigration trend we are seeing at the national level. By 2065, there will be no ethnic or racial majority in the United States. The current majority of white Americans will fall to 46% of the population, and Hispanics will come second with 24%. As the number of Hispanics in America grows, so does the size of the Hispanic American electorate, and politicians hungry for votes have taken note.
Bienvenidos a todos en nuestro país, ¿verdad? Porque somos americanos todos.
En los jóvenes conocidos como los Dreamers, veo las mismas cualidades que Michelle y yo tratamos de inculcar en nuestras hijas.
While some politicians view the growing number of Hispanics in the United States as a new voting base to tap into, others use the population as a scapegoat to American problems and appeal to nativist fears.
My father was a refugee from the Nazis.
Yeah.
And because of my family history and because I know how serious such a comparison is, I've never compared anybody to Hitler before.
Okay.
But when I see footage of the Trump rallies, and when I hear footage of his speeches, the kind of anger and the kind of hatred that he is drawing out of the people that come to his rallies is so reminiscent of Nazi rallies that it's really, really frightening.
To most individuals, uncertainty could be thought of as quite scary because of that uncertainty, not willing to take a risk, not willing to venture forward. Yet many that have come here have ventured here in uncertainty, not exactly knowing what their life's going to be like.
Noé Teles is an immigrant living and working in Iowa City. Him and his 5 siblings grew up in a small house with a cardboard roof and wooden walls in Venustiano Carranza, a small rural town in Mexico. His father was a farmer and his mother raised the family. At 19, Noé crossed the Rio Grande in search of a better life.
Nosotros más o menos caminamos como 28 horas, porque sí nos daban un break, pero el coyote decía que nos íbamos a enfriar, entonces teníamos que seguir, no sé, apenas estabas getting comfortable, como sea, y decía el coyote, no, vámonos, tienen que ir, vámonos, ya no sé, pero sí, más o menos como 5 minutos, un break. cada 5 horas, no sé, cada 4 horas, dependiendo.
Noé recounts instances where people collapsed from exhaustion, but they had to keep moving if anyone was going to make it. For Noé, the walk was hard, but the thought of a better life made him keep going.
Pues yo solo tenía en mi mente llegar a Estados Unidos. Sí, fue difícil caminar 28 horas. Hubo veces que se nos acababa el agua porque en 28 horas. Durante el día hace muchísimo calor. Entonces no te da ni hambre porque lo único que quieres es tomar agua. Sí, fue difícil, pero lo logré y aquí estoy.
As the rhetoric surrounding immigrants reverberates, activists like Maria Bribriesco work to push Hispanics towards voting booths. Maria works to mobilize Hispanic citizens to vote for whichever candidate they prefer. Some Hispanics, like Jonathan Ortega, who is working to mobilize Republicans in Iowa, will be voting for Donald Trump this November.
He is not a politician. The politicians we've had in the past, both sides, Democrat and Republican, have been politicians. It's for their own good, not for the good of us people. And I think Donald Trump is for all the citizens of the United States. Including Mexicans, yes.
He's not a politician. Once you run for office, you are a politician, and that's why he says things and then he doesn't, then he backs away from them. And I also don't think he's in it to help the people, because he's never shown that to be the case. Because if he wanted to help the people, he never would have moved his factories overseas. If he wanted to help the people, he wouldn't be making himself wealthier when the housing market collapsed. That to me doesn't show altruism. He's never showed altruism at all. And so why would I believe him now? I don't.
He wants to put underground surveillance and aerial surveillance, along with more guards, and that's what's neat. Right now it's so porous, anybody could walk across there. And like she was saying, down in Texas, they come across, have their babies, and they're automatically U.S. citizens, and we support them. And then at night, they go home. They get all the benefits.
Here's the problem that I have with Trump's rhetoric, is that he equates the undocumented workers with maybe doing some personal crimes with somehow causing terrorism.
Regardless of partisanship, the importance of the Hispanic vote persists. As the population grows, civic engagement is crucial to ensuring the Hispanic voice is heard.
I'm trying to get the Latinos out because I think that I want this country to know that we're growing in number and we are going to be a force to be reckoned with. This election will determine, really what kind of people we are.
For Sal, it is crucial that the uncertainty immigrants face when they venture across the border, the uncertainty of what the next president will mean for Hispanic people, and the uncertainty of how the growth of the Hispanic population will impact the country are all met with understanding and not fear. The 2016 election provides Hispanics the opportunity to engage in dialogue and foster understanding, but they must engage and they must have their voices heard.
If they hear that within 10, 20 years that the population of Hispanics is going to double, and there'll be 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 individuals within Iowa, within the country, what does that mean? What's that look like? And if it doesn't look too well right now, how is it going to look to them in the future? If there's no relationship, there's very little relationship to Latinos now, scary, huh? That's an uncertainty, isn't it?
At the center of West Liberty's success in building an inclusive relationship between the two cultures is the West Liberty school system, which was the first in the state to implement a dual language program. Nowhere else is the fusion of cultures more striking than in the 5th grade classroom of Miss Garcia.
Sí, de nada.
Sí, de nada. Me gusta la español más, porque eso no se hablase en la casa. Se hablase inglés en la casa.
In the morning, students learn in English, and in the afternoon, they switch to Spanish. In the end, students become bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural.
I feel like they really need to understand that it's beneficial because it helps them become better learners, better thinkers. It helps them become better citizens, and just letting them have those relationships that they might not be able to have if they didn't speak another language. especially in a town like West Liberty, it closes that language gap between, the native English speakers and the native Spanish speakers.
Ms. Garcia is the daughter of 2 Mexican immigrants who came to the United States in the 80s from Guanajuato, Mexico. She knew she wanted to be a teacher since elementary school when she first felt the impact of a teacher's passion and yearned to impact others in the same way.
It's very interesting to see the way this town, is so supporting of culturalism, and you have the Latino festival that you hear mariachis playing outside, and I think it's very enriching for the children to get exposed to that.
We've managed to really sort of set trends here in this community. For a small community, and perhaps that's why it's so successful, is because we are a small, intimate community, and we're not too large that we don't know everyone. I really think that deep down inside, people are going to once they understand the situation and understand where everybody is coming from, and there's advocates on both sides, they will not be so confrontative and hostile.